All right, we are back. Let's get into the port profile. Shout out to everybody watching on YouTube. Here we go. All right, so we're going to start with Atlantis, though, because like I said, that is the kind of crown jewel excursion of the port. It's a resort. It's an entertainment complex. It's a water park, casino, an aquarium. It recreates the fantasy water city of Atlantis, and it really is one of the premier destinations for vacations in the world. It's got 141 acres of freshwater lagoons, saltwater lagoons, pools, natural aquatic habitats, rivers, much, much, much more. It really is just a world-class destination. And whether you're cruising or whether you're going to do a land vacation, please, I mean, Atlantis, let's just say what it is. I mean, the money they put into this thing, they really, really did not cut any corners when they built Atlantis. And there's one in Dubai, I know that. I think there's a few others around the world, but the main one, the first one, the flagship, is in the Bahamas. And you've heard for years all the celebrities that have gone there, this and that, and it's just changed the whole scope of Paradise Island. Starting with the water park, it's just a world-class water park with 18 slides. They call them it's basically the slide setup is called the Aquaventure. It's tons and tons of options. They vary in size, they vary in speed, and just overall, I guess, levels of exhilarations. The scariest options, they say, are the Leap of Faith. Have you guys ever seen that thing? Oh my! I've been to Atlantis a few times, and I haven't done any of these. I want to. I kind of want to do one. I think I'm going back soon. And, whether it's on that Norwegian cruise that finally gives me the freaking, voucher in September maybe. But when I go back to Nassau, I'm gonna step out of my comfort zone and do some of these slides. Like the Leap of Faith, you have the Abyss, and you have what they call the Drop. Some of them are, they have that one that's goes literally almost a flat out drop straight down, and then you slow down by contouring off into a tube that goes through a shark tank, which is, I mean, come on, just scaring, just complete sensory overload right there. They also have a head-to-head speed race slide called the Challenger, and my favorite, one thing I can tell you I have done at Nassau, is called the Current, and that is their beautiful, I mean, come on, I mean, their lazy river. It goes around the whole entire park. There's several different entry points, and you could be just like chilling on the tube, relaxing, and then you'll kind of come around a corner, and there'll be some rapids, that's pretty, I mean, anybody who's into rides would be like still yawning during the rapids, but for me, you will. If you're not careful, you'll get knocked off that tube. But I definitely love that lazy river, and if you're just doing a lap or two around the lazy river, that in itself is a beautiful day. Come on. All right, what else do they have? They have Dolphin Cay. They opened Dolphin Cay to provide a home for 16 stranded dolphins who were displaced by a storm. This is not an aquarium. It does not do staged shows for the public. You gotta, say that because, all the heat SeaWorld has been getting. It's a 14-acre environment with animal rescue and rehabilitation hospitals. It's got a habitat complete with lagoons, beaches. It's got a residential pool for the dolphins. There's also an education center and a quarantine in case they get sick, and a separate sea lion center. So they're doing it all for these dolphins. They're providing a safe place for them. They're not necessarily torturing them and exploiting them by putting them through all these like heavy training sessions just to entertain you or me. This purposes of the what they're trying to do is just provide a comfortable environment for these dolphins who were displaced by the storm. They teach them, like I said, the education center ideally gives them some skills, as well as gives you, the public, some skills about learning about the dolphins, about what they do and what they're all about, and, how they live, and what makes them tick, and what how smart these animals are. I mean, the level of remember, dolphins are mammals too. I don't think they breathe underwater, do they? No, they have to come up for air. Dolphins, so they're it's really, really interesting animals, and how their ability and their capacity to learn is amazing, and all that stuff is on display here at Dolphin Cay. You have Atlantis Adventures, so if you want to get crazy at Atlantis, you can do a bunch of other stuff. They offer scuba diving, snorkeling, snuba, shark experiences if you're feeling like a shark experience, stingray experiences, underwater tours of the ruins of Atlantis. They have a program for kids too. It's called Sea Squirts. They have over 100 marine biologists. Can you imagine that? They're paying over 100 marine biologists to be on staff. They will walk you through the whole experience. If you have questions, again, like I said, education center. They want to teach you about these, this aquatic wildlife as well as, have you have an enjoyable vacation experience as a tourist. They have a marine habitat. They have aquariums, like I said, the lagoons, the caves, the underwater ruins filled with hundreds of species of sea life, accessible by walking along the underground path below the resort. Have you guys ever done that? Pretty much, I'm just describing the aquarium at Nassau. I'm not the biggest aquarium guy, but this will absolutely floor you. You walk into a tunnel, and it's pretty much pitch black, so you have to watch where you're going. But you're looking around, and every tank, it's almost like it's almost like an ascending level of coolness about all the tanks, but they're all just giant, full human-sized windows. First you'll see a bunch of fish that are like the same color. They have these black and yellow fish, that are all the same color, swimming around in unison a lot of times. Then they'll have the stingrays, which is cool, and then you'll see the sharks. They'll just be these huge, mega fish that you cannot believe. Like, you're literally separated from them by 6 inches. Turtles, stingrays, everything, and they're huge. They're just monster mega fish, and you're putting your hand on the glass. And again, I'm not easily impressed with aquatic wildlife and stuff like that. But you walk through that underground tunnel in that aquarium at Nassau. It's amazing, and you don't have to pay the full price for the water park and everything. You can just do the aquarium. I don't think it's free, right? I don't remember what it actually is. That's another thing, guys. I'm going to make this disclaimer here too. As far as the information I'm giving you a lot of information. There's always going to be, like I said, the more you know, the less you know thing. It would be, I could sit here and talk to you for 3 days. If we were going to get into every single tour and everything, every excursion you could do, and what price was it, and was it for kids, and is it for adults, and is it during peak time, during not peak time, before 6 o'clock, after 6 o'clock, all that stuff. I'm going to give you a lot of information, but just know that if you hear something interesting, you may have to research it a little bit more to get the details. You know what I mean? If you want to do the powerboat adventure, you may find out that you have to book it by noon. I may not have that information, but again, just listen to the information I give you about the island and about Nassau, and if something sounds interesting, dive in it for yourself a little bit. Dive deep into it, because again, I could sit here and talk for days, and there would still be information out there that I'm not necessarily going to have time to bring to the table for you. All right, so again, speaking on that, I am not sure what the price is, if any, for just the sea life tour, the underground aquarium at Nassau, or at Atlantis. But check it out. Definitely look into that, because it is absolutely worth it. You could definitely spend the whole day there. And there's a lot of stuff to do on Paradise Island too, which we'll get into. If you want to do like an aqua adventure, if you want to do like the underground aquarium, you could do that, walk in, and then hit up a beach after that without necessarily doing the water park. All right, so Atlantis also has a bunch of general activities like tennis courts. There's plenty of shopping there. There's a beautiful fitness center and spa there. There's pottery classes if you guys want to go Patrick Swayze ghost style on everything. Pottery classes, believe it or not. They have a full library in case you want to go in and start reading and start checking out books. And they still have the Dewey Decimal System. If you want to check out the card catalog over there, they have a library. They have a complimentary movie theater. It's a beautiful theater that you will be able to see as well. The pictures are flashing across if you're on YouTube right now, and there are some shots of the movie theater, whether it's before, after, or during this commentary, but you will see them up there. It's gorgeous. So what else? And the movie theater does have current releases too. They will show you current releases, and it is complimentary. They have the Ocean Club golf course. A beautiful golf course designed by Tom Weiskopf. I think that's how you pronounce his name. I'm not a golf guy, but it has 18 holes, as it should, I guess, right? It's a par 72 championship course on the Paradise Island Peninsula. It's got a pro shop, it's got a beautiful restaurant on site, and it is connected to Atlantis. But like I said, on Paradise Island, if you're into golf, you can spend the whole entire day golfing there and have a couple of drinks and some food afterwards as well. You could tie that into a beach day as well if you have some time, if you can really get through those old 18 holes in an expeditious manner. Tours are offered through the resort, just general tours. You have the Rum Runners Passage, rum tasting. You have the Nassau City Seekers Tour. You have a hop-on, hop-off gallery museum tour. You have the Art and Dine Gallery food experience. And then apparently they're very big with alliteration because they're gonna make me say they have a bar hopping, bootleggers, bites, and booze from Bacardi drinking tour. They have a local beers brew tour as well. You just would have to check in with the staff at Atlantis if you wanted to go through those. I wouldn't necessarily recommend a lot of those. I would probably recommend that more for people who are staying on the resort. But you do have that availability to do the resort for a day type setup and situation at Atlantis as well. They have a yacht and fishing tours available via request. You can call up and they will book you a yacht. They will book you a private fishing tour. If you're going to do either of those, if you're going to even waste your time with that phone call, I suggest you have a large amount of disposable income, because I guarantee you that there will be in the many thousands of dollars to do the yacht situation. Not sure about the fishing tour, but check on it if you want. But we'll get into a lot of other options, and there'll be plenty of opportunities for you to fish if you are in Nassau, and you don't necessarily have to do it by a private charter. They also have a giant 9,000 square foot pool called the Cove. It's got cabanas, it's got a lounge areas, it's right at the beach as well. You guys know they have a casino there. There's a comedy club there. There's a nightclub for adults, and there's a nightclub for kids, both. They have actually a Nobu on site, and they have a bunch of other restaurants. But those are all exclusive to guests of the resort. But like I said, you can do the resort for a day option. You just got to go to the front desk and ask for that, and you will have access to all those things as well. Again, that's not a cheap option. I'm not acting like it's, anybody could just pop up there and do it. But it's Atlantis, it's Nassau, it's the Bahamas, and I'm not going to, leave it out. All right, let's get into some of the other stuff in Nassau, / Paradise Island / surrounding little keys or islands, however you want to say it, keys, islands around it. Here we go. You got Cable Beach. Have you guys heard of Cable Beach? It's on the north side of the island. It's just a bit west. It's on the mainland of, let's just say that first. Okay, so Nassau is a city. Nassau is not an island. New Providence is the island, and Nassau is the main city on that island. So you have the north side of the island, just a bit west of where Paradise Island is, on New Providence, is Cable Beach. It's a very, very popular beach, and maybe the most talked about beach on the island overall, but it's mostly for non-cruise passengers. It can get crowded because it's near the resorts, but it's not necessarily cruise ship crowded. Great for obviously laying in the sun, but you're going to get some stingray sightings. You can do all your water sports at Cable Beach. It is a very mainstream beach. It's got beautiful white sand. You're going to see some locals there, since it's not necessarily in the downtown tourist area as much. It's a little off to the side a little bit. You do get a mix of resort guests and locals that go there. Very, very clean bathrooms, plenty of places to shop. The travelers say that the vendors are not pushy there, so you can have a lot of options to shop, but you're not necessarily getting harassed like you will at some other places, because I guess, again, being with the fact that the resorts are in that area, there's a deal with them, and that's apparently very, very frowned upon. It's about 6 or 7 miles from the cruise terminal, and it's about, if you get in a cab, it's about 15-20 minutes to get there. Moving on. Another beach. We're talking beaches right now, but this is more than a beach. It's Clifton Heritage National Park. This is a national park on the far west edge of the island, and it features a lot of wildlife. It's got almost a lot of greenery, like a forest, and tons of beach space. See, the highlight for most people at Clifton Heritage National Park is snorkeling in a place called the Statue Garden. And there's these statues that are on the beach. It's kind of, I don't want to say creepy, but like a little, I don't know. It's looks spiritual. It kind of looks just like these statues. There's a bunch on the beach that are just apparently staring into the water, and then there's a bunch under the water. So when you snorkel, you'll get a chance to kind of dive down, and or scuba, you'll get a chance to dive down and see a lot of these sculptures that are just placed permanently at the base of the where you're snorkeling. There's a small fee to gain entrance to the park. If you're exploring on your own and not with a tour bus, keep in mind that the cab fare will probably cost you as much as the whole thing will. So if you're going to do Clifton Heritage National Park, that's an example of something I would mention that you probably should do an excursion with, because like I said, you'll get entrance to the park, you'll get possibly a tour of the park, and you'll get transportation to and from guaranteed to make the ship, and that'll be probably almost as much, if not more, than just the regular cab ride that would be if you did it on your own. But Clifton Heritage National Park sounds like a really cool excursion to do, because you can get it all in. You can get the beach in, you can get a little bit of a rainforest in there, like a forest in there, and you can get some snorkeling in there as well, and you could see a lot of history and just some cool stuff. There's tours. Many tours also combine a beach day. You can kayak. There'll be a boxed lunch. Just like I said, do some research. Look up tours, Clifton Heritage National Park, and there'll be tons of options, packaging, a bunch of different things, varied options based on what's more important to you. The issue with this thing is that the distance from the cruise terminal is 17 miles. I mean, you can get there in a half hour, 35 minutes, no traffic, but it is a little bit of a hike there. So just make sure, again, always have your wristwatch tuned in to ship time, so you make sure you don't miss the ship. Moving on. One of the more probably the most popular and the busiest beach for cruise passengers is Junkanoo Beach. This is a crowded beach. It's a party beach at times. Great view of the ships that are in port. It's beautiful if you like a lot of action. It's only a couple miles from the cruise port, so you can imagine how busy it does get. There's a lot of issues, they say, maintaining cleanliness sometimes, and I guess that's just kind of in proportion to how much foot traffic and people do hit up this beach. There's a lot of people there. Plenty of water sports here. The vendors here, like we talked about, in contrast to Cable Beach, are a little bit more pushy, but they're still very polite for the most part. You get plenty of options of grilled food, jerk chicken, and the prices there are pretty good. By the way, when you're there, definitely check out the Tiki Bikini Hut. It's pretty historic. It's a really, really fun place to get a drink, and there's, like I said, plenty of grilled food, jerk chicken around there that you can get at a really good price. Junkanoo Beach got its name from a festival, believe it or not. It's almost like a carnival that they have every year on Boxer Day, and that's the day after Christmas, right? Boxer Day? I think so. So they have this out-of-control carnival where people are marching up and down the street in crazy costumes. It's just a huge festival, huge party, and it's just a really, really historic part of the fabric of Nassau and the Bahamas as a whole. It's called Junkanoo, and they named this beach after it. We'll talk about Junkanoo and that festival a little bit later in the podcast. Moving on, as far as beaches, we're going to go to Cabbage Beach. That's a funny name for a beach, but yeah, it is what it is. Cabbage Beach, also one of the more popular beaches in Nassau. It's on Paradise Island, right near the golf course. So keep in mind, like I said, if you're looking to get in around the golf and you want to combo it with a little bit of a dip in the ocean or a beach day, this might be your best option. It's also near Arawak. And Arawak is the place where they have the fish fry. We'll talk more about that as well. Got to check out the fish fry if you're in Nassau and you're kind of just like floating around and you didn't book Atlantis for the day and you want to experience some of the local food and local culture. Definitely the Arawak fish fry is something you want to make sure you do. There's lots of space on this particular beach. We're back to Cabbage Beach now. It's recommended to be careful though when you are swimming, because on Cabbage Beach there definitely are no lifeguards and the currents have kind of been known to be a little strong. There's some riptides out there. But I'm telling you, when I tell you the most beautiful white sand, and really, I think for my money, just doing the research I've done and seeing a lot of the pictures, the water stands out. Some of the bluest, gorgeous water you'll ever see. Again, it's a little bit out of the way. You're probably not going to get crushed with tourist traffic here, but again, you will. It's on Paradise Island, so you may get some Atlantis people and some land-based vacation people. You got your water sports here. It's just a great beach. It's 5 miles and around 15 minutes from the cruise port. You can get a bus from like where they have the Dunkin' Donuts area, where like downtown and like Senior Frogs is and everything like that. There is a bus that takes you right there for $1. But again, give yourself some time. Always have that watch on ship time so you know you're not going to miss the ship. Again, 5 miles, around 15 minutes if you're in a regular cab. Moving on to the next beach, we got Orange Hill Beach. If you take JFK Drive past Cable Beach, you're going to come across Orange Hill Beach. It's the Orange Hill Beach Inn is probably the first thing you'll notice, and it's a boutique hotel in Nassau. It's very historic. People know about it. People love to stay there. So a lot of celebrities have stayed there in their various trips to Nassau, especially pre-Atlantis. This is a gorgeous, small, and mainly quiet by comparison beach if you're looking for some tranquility. It's a short beach, doesn't have a ton of beach space, but again, like I said, very, very quiet. You're going to have to go about 10 miles and 20 minutes, maybe a 20-minute cab ride from the cruise terminal. Might be more of an option for those who are overnighting, maybe taking a land-based vacation. If you are there, definitely check in the Orange Hill Beach Inn. You get some food there and just check out the history of that, institution of Nassau. All right, so next you have Love Beach and Compass Point Beach as well. This is just past Orange Hill. Also very, very similar. You almost probably won't know where one starts and the other begins, but it's similarly calm. It's small. It's tranquil. Love Beach is also famous for the very popular Nirvana Beach Bar. Cool little place to catch a cocktail, maybe something to eat. Right close to the beach. It's about 12 miles and about 35 minutes from the cruise port. What they say on Love Beach, maybe that's how it's got its name. This is pure speculation here now, ladies and gentlemen, but a lot of people like to have their wedding and they get married on Love Beach. So check out Love Beach if you are so inclined when you're in Nassau. Remote, a little out of the way. Enjoy it. All right, another institution of Nassau is the Bay Street Thoroughfare, aka, or not aka, but within the Bay Street Thoroughfare is the Straw Market. This is just the downtown district that's filled with shops, bars, restaurants, a bunch of street vendors. I mean, great for exploring, shopping, eating, drinking, people watching especially. But look out for the couple of negatives that people tend to say about Nassau as a whole. You may experience a lot of that while you're at the Bay Street Thoroughfare. You're going to get the big crowds. You're going to get maybe not necessarily the cleanest experience, and they do say that about Nassau. It can be a little dirty, and this is an area where you could experience that. But again, I'm from freaking New York City, and living in Astoria, Queens, and commuting to Manhattan, I guess I'm a little less sensitive to a piece of trash, blowing by like, I don't know. It's not necessarily as offensive to me. Again, yeah, you go away, you want to see everything nice and pristine, and it probably does sound like they could do a better job at keeping this area clean, but it is what it is, and it's not necessarily going to ruin my trip. I like the action. I like crowds. I like hustle and bustle. I'm definitely an urban type guy, city type guy. They say this is an area where the vendors, and you could imagine where all the vendors that are there, they're definitely going to be pushy, and they're going to try to have that sales mentality going, and they're going to try to borderline harass you to coming in. But guys, they're going to harass people who will let them be harassed. You know what I mean? Just don't. It's very, very simple. Just look forward. You could even look at them directly in the eye and smile and say, no, thank you, I'm okay. Be very, very friendly, but be very, very stern. You know what I mean? Thank you so much. No, I'm good. Appreciate it. But no, thank you. Just kind of like but they're gonna, like I said, if you're in the water and you want to avoid getting eaten by a shark, you don't have to outswim the shark. You just have to outswim the people you're with. Like I said, there's plenty of people that are going to be like, oh, really? Okay, I feel bad saying no. Let me walk in here with you. Let them feast on those people. You got places to go. You know what you want. You know where you want to be. Even if you don't even feel bad stopping in. Don't be like, oh, you know what? I don't want to stop in there because they're going to bother me. Stop in. Let them ask you. You almost just let them ask you 17 times if you need help. Just keep smiling and say, no, thank you, just looking. No, thank you, just looking. And then they're like, I'm starting to annoy this person. Let me leave them alone. And they may get annoyed, but you know what? That has no effect on you. You're there to shop. You may be there to patronize their shop. You may buy something. You may not. Their level of salesmanship or how high the level of them harassing you is, just understand it's part of shopping in the Caribbean as a whole, and don't let it ruin your day. That's all I can really say about that. I mean, I'm not saying be rude to people, because you know what I mean? You never know. Who knows who you're going to say on what day, and who had a bad day and what they're capable of or what they have to lose. So you don't want to necessarily be rude to people, but just be very, very clear and very, very blunt. All right, moving on. There are some forts in Nassau. I didn't know that, but there's 3 forts that are all really, really cool. And I guess we'll start with Fort Montague. This is the smallest fort. It's like almost like, if it can be possible to say this, it's like a cute fort. It's along the beach, about 2 miles away from the cruise terminal. It's not a ton to see there as far as a destination, but if you're in that area and you see it, definitely stop by. There's some really, really cool opportunities to get a picture. This fort was actually captured by the U.S. forces during the American Revolution. General Washington used the supplies that he found there, and the ammunition later on in the war to I guess help the war effort and ultimately make us free, however you want to look at that. But it is a 4-cannon fort. It's got like a cannon at each corner, and it's just a cool little fort to see. It's a beautiful area, and definitely worth the photo op. All right, moving on, you have Fort Fincastle, and you can kind of combo that with what's called the Queen's Staircase, and combo that with these beautiful lush falls that they have there. It's a short walk from the cruise terminal as well. It's not terribly exciting, but I would say definitely, just like I said, if you're walking around that area, there's some serious history there. It's a great area to take pictures as well, and like more probably picturesque and more cool to see than the Fort Montague, because like I said, you do have the Queen's Staircase, which is, I didn't count the steps, but it looks like 75, 50 to 100 steps, and it's an impressive thing to look at. Like I said, as is the waterfall, tons of carved rock, incredible natural and man-made architecture. At this fort, you can actually reach the highest point in Nassau. Some breathtaking sights, get a really good look, get a good workout running up and down those stairs. Make sure you hydrate, make sure you put your sunscreen on, make sure you have a nice, good attitude and you're in a good mood, because like I said, it is hot. But I think this would probably be my favorite fort to check out, only because like I said, you get the fort, you get the staircase, and you get the waterfall, and you do have options to get guided tours on that as well. And then the largest fort is Fort Charlotte. It's larger than Montague and Fincastle, but it was built in anticipation for a French invasion that never came. So while it's the biggest fort in Nassau, it never saw any action whatsoever. The interesting guided tours will give you plenty of information regarding the fort, and also a lot of history about the island as well, and you will get great views from Fort Charlotte as well. And if you want to, like I said, excuse me, if you want to spend a lot of time at a fort, this might be the fort for you, because there is like I said, it's the largest one. Moving on, what else is there to do? You guys like rum? If you guys like rum, we got the why did I just whip into the Nassau Chamber of Commerce right there? I apologize. The John Watling Rum Distillery. John Watling was a pirate. This is a very, very short tour. You can get a tour of the distillery. It's a short tour. Not a whole lot to it, but the distillery itself is really cool, and it's a really popular place to hang out with some damn good rum, might I add. They offer samples to the guests and allow for plenty of drinking before, during, and after the tour. If you decide to skip the tour, you can go to the John Watling Distillery and buy some rum, drink some rum. It's a place for rum. Apparently people do a lot of this. They skip the tour, head right to the distillery. You could see all the barrels, you could see like how it's made and everything like that. Just get a cool, visual of inside and outside of the distillery, and have some rum while you do so. I guess we're on the Vice section of the port profile. We're going to talk about Great Cliff Cigars. The Great Cliff Cigar Factory, you can get lessons on how to clean, how to store, how to roll cigars. You'll get a lesson on where the tobacco comes from, how it's grown, and actually you'll get a certification. You'll be a certified cigar roller. They'll teach you the art of learning how to blend certain leaves with one another. If you're into cigars and you get at the end, you get to keep the creation if you are a cigar smoker. This is a great tour. Lasts approximately 3 hours, costs around $80, and you really get an in-depth feel of what it's like to work in a cigar shop and how to make a cigar. And like I said, you get to keep your own. You get a certification of you're I guess I'm sure it's pretty much just honorary. I'm sure you can't take this, put it on your resume, and we'll go to Cuba and start rolling cigars and make a living doing that. But you do get a certificate saying that you do know how to roll a cigar, and you'll walk out of there knowing a lot about it. And maybe, you know what, some of you people that don't smoke cigars, you know what, here's a good way to start the habit. Check it out. I would think it was interesting. I don't smoke cigars. I don't smoke anything. Smoking, no offense, I'm not offended by it, but it's just, I don't know. All right, so if you got some kids, you want to see some animals, you're into some nature, you want to kind of get into, the habitats, the animal life of Nassau. You have the Artistra Zoo and Conservatory. It's got over 200 animals. 135 are available for close encounter experiences. It's Nassau's first zoo. It's pretty much Nassau's, if not their only zoo, it's their main zoo. It's got 4 acres. It's got mammals, reptiles, birds. It's got the Caribbean flamingo, which is the Bahama national bird. You can walk around them. It's kind of weird. I did a lot of research for this, looked at YouTube videos. You can walk around a bunch of flamingos. So you're walking around, you got birds that can land on you could feed them out of your hand. You could hold them. They sit on your shoulder. Meanwhile, you're walking around with flamingos, colorful parrots, and they're all uncaged. You can walk right up to them, take pictures with them. It's $18 for adults. Kids are free. Really cool for adults, but the kids will love it. And it's less than 2 miles away from the port. So if you want to check out a zoo, it's not, like I said, I'm not sitting here to tell you it's the San Diego or the Bronx Zoo. Probably wouldn't be the first thing I would run to, but if I was into zoos and wildlife, I would definitely be at this place. The Artistra Zoo and Conservatory. Check it out. For more information, do some research. All right, moving on. The fish fry at Arawak or Arawaki, however you want to say it. The fish fry is a staple for Nassau, and I would suggest, if you're a foodie, if you want to get some local cuisine, if you want to be in the mix and know what the real kind of, I guess, native foods to the island are, this is where you want to be. And it's a one-stop shop. Just go to the fish fry. Everybody knows what the fish fry is. Everybody knows where it is, and it's a bunch of pastel kind of like looking buildings that just have their own varieties of what you can get. You get jerk chicken, you can get conch, you can get Conch Salad, conch done a bunch of different ways. Now, this is what you're going to have to realize and understand. You're in the Bahamas, and in America, we've gotten so germ conscious, and even on the cruise ship, the whole, you got hand sanitizers around every corner. You got health department regulations. You got sanitary stuff that we've all become so used to. In New York City, they have the grading system A, B, C, and D. God forbid somebody's got a B. You are not eating there. This is the mindset you're going to have to kind of get away from a little bit. If you want a conch salad, I'll just start with that. I don't know if you realize, like let's just say this. Forget about the gloves. There's no gloves involved. The running water isn't necessarily as, there's clearly not as many regulations and rules for sanitary purposes. You like to think that they took all the precautions necessary. You like to think that they came in with clean hands. But I'm going to tell you something. I would eat it. I'm telling you I would reluctantly eat it, but I would eat it. But I don't know, just something about watching. It's almost like it's like a conch salad. I've never had it, actually. I love conch fritters. I love, I love it in a lot of different forms, but I've never had conch salad, and I can't wait to now, looking at some of these videos. But there are, it's pretty much like a ceviche. And what they do is they deshell it, which is a fascinating process. They take the conch out of the conch shell, and then they take it, they chop it up, and then, they chop up a bunch of vegetables, onion, tomato, a few others, and then they kind of toss it all together. And then they squeeze a ton of lemon or lime on it, whatever it is. And like ceviche, the acid from the citrus fruits, orange and everything like that, that's what cooks or makes the conch edible. And that's what kind of like naturally, what's the word? I forgot the word. Not braised, not based. What's that word? cures it, right? Cures it, pretty much. And that's they're squeezing these, ounces and ounces of juices into the conch salad with their bare hands. So everything on their hands is, being washed into the conch. I'm making it sound very, very gross right now, but if you watch some of these YouTube videos, watch them make conch salad, that's just how they do it. And yeah, I think it's more because of how I've been conditioned. Wash your hands, everything. Everybody's washing their hands. Everybody has to wear gloves. Everything. That's not how they do it. That's not how they do it. I'm sorry. So if you want to be adventurous, that's what goes on. And I absolutely would. And a lot of these restaurants you'll go to in Nassau, they show you the kitchen tour. The kitchen just looks like yours and my kitchen. And I'm telling you, you think you're eating in a nice restaurant, and you are, but the guy who's making your food is, a native who's got a wife beater on, no gloves, and may or may not have washed his hands after his last trip to the bathroom. Yes, I'm sounding gross right now, but we're real here. We're talking real. I'm telling you, I watch these videos, and these guys just without hesitation, just squeeze these inordinate amounts of citrus juice into this, and then hand mix the whole thing. If you're okay with that, then do it. It just throws me off a little bit, and I'm giving you that kind of like heads up warning. I would still try it. I'm out there. You know what? I'm a big when in Rome guy. I would try it. I would see a lot of people be like, "Oh no, thank you. I'll pass," but not me. Anyway, the fish fry, Arawak. Definitely check that out. It's a little bit kind of it's near Paradise Island on the north, I would say, east portion of the chain of islands, but I would definitely make my way there, and I'm definitely going to go there the next time. I want to see that conch salad, conch fritters, jerk chicken, all that stuff. I'm going to go from vendor to vendor and try most, if not all, of it. All right, moving on to the art galleries. Art galleries, there's really, and listen, let me tell you this. This is an example of something I'm also not into. I'm not into art, museums, stuff like that. That's not necessarily my thing, embarrassingly enough. But doing the research that I saw, the National Art Gallery of the Bahamas, it's the flagship of the Bahamas art scene. And if you're going to do one, this is the one you do. It's under a mile from the cruise terminal, just up the street from Junkanoo Beach. It's modern, traditional. It's got statues. It's got pottery. Many other types of creations by local artists all throughout this impressive gallery. It's through the years, it's got old pieces of work. It's got new pieces of work. The intention here is to create and preserve the identity and the culture of the Bahamian people. Seeing these pieces gives you a weighted feel of the rich history of this particular part of the world. I'm actually probably going to check this out next time, because just looking at the colors and what the different pieces of art mean, they touch on the slavery days, they touch on the pirate days, and they do it in such a really, really kind of visually attractive way. The different rooms represent different places, and even the rooms themselves are gorgeous. And like I said, not necessarily being a huge art gallery guy, this art museum, basically is what it is a great way to walk in and really feel like you're getting a true piece of the Bahamas, piece of Nassau, and you're getting back on that ship, knowing more about this culture, knowing more about the people than you otherwise did before you went to the gallery. There's another art gallery called Pop Studios. It's less than 2 miles from the cruise terminal, and this is definitely a startup. This is definitely a mom and pop. They focus on pop art. It was started by a guy named John Cox, who has become a little bit of a local celebrity there. He took pride in creating a community of pop artists that try to draw inspiration from each other. So, he didn't just be like, let's just set this gallery up and get this thing going and posts, whoever wants it. Now, what he wanted to do was create an artist community, almost like a comedy troupe or an acting troupe or a theater troupe, or theater group of people that kind of like feed off each other, establishing a community. Like I said, they stress collaboration in their work. Through some research, I can tell you that this is not your father's art gallery. There's a very modern feel to it. The facility that they work in as well, they can maintain the facility themselves. They're known throughout the community now. It might be cool to check out their community, which does pretty much everything on site, from maintaining the grounds and everything. And if you want to kind of, these guys obviously clearly this is a passion project, and if you have any interest in art, particularly pop art, anything like progressive in the art world, you definitely want to check out Pop Studios. Again, like I said, less than 2 miles from the cruise terminal. let's get into straight up museums, not necessarily art related. First, and the funnest one, it seems like, is the Pirates of Nassau Museum. This is more of an educational center than I'd say that is a collection of artifacts. A lot of the stuff that is there, they'll have some artifacts there, but a lot of the stuff that is there is kind of man-made, recreated. Word is that this place has so much info that everyone who has any type of curiosity for piracy at all will be fascinated by what this museum brings to the table. The building itself was actually a former pirate sanctuary because, you just had, it was almost like pirate culture. Piracy was something that you did back in the mid-1800s. And for $18 per adult, you'll get all the info you could ever need. It's just steps away from the cruise terminal. Tons and tons of information, like I said, but you could actually board a replica pirate ship. You can kind of get a feel. They know it's a replica. You're not actually boarding a pirate ship, but they created it after a certain, I guess, maybe not a particular certain ship, but probably like an amalgamation of a bunch of ships, and you can get on it and really kind of feel what it's like to be aboard a real pirate ship. Again, I would absolutely love this as an adult, and I probably will check this out when I'm there. I think because I'm saying that's what I'm going to do. I'm probably just going to go on my own and just do a bunch of stuff. Start out downtown, looking at the urban stuff, and then probably ending up on Paradise Island to Arawak Cay, the fish fry. That's the Nassau trip that I'm going to probably take next time. So kids, but adults as well will probably love this. So you also have the Heritage Museum of the Bahamas. This is a small place, seemingly unassuming place. From outside, it doesn't really look like much, but when you walk in, you're clubbed over the head with fascinating historical info about the Bahamas, as well as genuine artifacts covering hundreds of years. You'll get a set of headphones, and you'll get a narrated tour that covers the rich history, including a very moving talk about the days of slavery. Well, a lot of the stuff, and again, I haven't experienced this, but what people are saying is that when they touch on that, they don't pull any punches, and they're very, very realistic, and they're very, very, it's a very emotional part of the tour, and you really get a real deal look into the slavery days in Nassau, which were, alive and well during that time. It's only $10.50. It's also in the downtown area, right near the cruise terminal. It's actually in the Greystone Hotel, so so you can hit a few other tours and sites at the same time if you want to do that. Did I say Greystone? I did, right? It's actually Grey Cliff. Sorry about that. A lot of stuff here, guys. Doing my best. All right, moving on. Museum Expo. Another really cool museum that I am absolutely going to check out when I'm down there is the Junkanoo Expo Museum. We talked about the Junkanoo word, the name. It came from, I don't know where it came from, but as it pertains to all these tourist attractions, it's basically based around that festival they have on Boxer Day, that parade, that carnival. It apparently was a pleasant surprise to the many folks who thought it wouldn't be that impressive. This is an interactive museum that is a little off the beaten path, but still relatively close to downtown. Each room that you walk into will represent a different period of time throughout Bohemian history, and a heavy premium is placed on costume and participation activities. You'll get to, the kids and adults will be blown away by what's offered here, because you'll be interacting with the people who work there, who are kind of like, I guess, dressing, acting, performing, the natives will, and kind of like the whole Junkanoo theme. So there'll be tons of visual stuff, tons of costumes, and tons of stuff to do and see while you're at Junkanoo Museum. Apologize for some of these pronunciations, guys. We'll try our best. All right, so now what I want to do is get into some of the other things you could do, another aspect to Nassau that a lot of people some people know about, but a lot of people don't know about. And you can do, I would say, a lot, but I'm going to focus on 4 island beach days. So 4 islands that you can basically, off the cruise ship, get on a power boat, or whether it's a ferry, or whether it's whatever it is, you can go to private islands and spend the entire day on these islands. And the first one is called Blue Lagoon. You get a day trip out to this gorgeous island. It's got everything that you could imagine. It's got crystal blue water. It's got an inflatable water splash park. It's got an obstacle course. It's got all the water sports you could possibly want. You could swim with the dolphins. It has a Segway tour that will teach you about the island and the aquatic wildlife. You'll see, stingrays and, some sharks and stuff like that. As well as you'll learn about, the plant life, the ecosystem, the plant life ecosystem and stuff like that. You can snorkel here. You have to go to our walk on Paradise Island where the fish fry is, obviously, and maybe you can, like I said, maybe you could pair that up as well. And then you'll take a ferry out to Salt Cay. Blue Lagoon Island is right there. It's a little off of Salt Cay. It's a bit of a trip, but if you're looking for a beach day with everything you could possibly want at your fingertips, this is definitely it. There's, like I said, there's nothing that's left out here. You can, if you want an island, some islands are remote, some islands are busy with a bunch of stuff to do all day that will keep you busy. This is definitely it. That's one that I would need. I get really bored sick if I'm sitting on a beach day and there's really nothing to do but lay in the sand and, stare at the water. I love it, but after a while I get bored. I would definitely want more of like this type of action-packed island, and you could do it for the whole day. It's definitely will keep the kids busy and the kids at heart as well, you know what I mean, like myself. So Blue Lagoon, and it's really, really picturesque, guys. You'll see a lot of pictures. It's probably one of, if not the most popular of the island day trips that are available to you on your trip to Nassau. Moving on, we're going to Exuma Island. There's the Exuma Islands, and then there is Exuma Island. Exuma Island, you can go here and you can spend the entire day eating, drinking, feeding the fish, snorkeling, relaxing on the beach. This particular island is more about nature than it is about splashing around in a water park or taking part in water sports. Just make sure the times work out for purposes of making your ship. You'll definitely notice that you're out there a little bit for this one. You're traveling. I would say it's a little bit more south, but also very east of the actual mainland. You'll feed iguanas on Iguana Island. You'll see stingrays, and then you will actually be. I don't understand this, but I guess it's fine. You feed sharks. I don't think you feed the sharks. I think the tour guide feeds the sharks. But then you get in the water and you swim with the freaking sharks. Believe it or not, you could actually even swim with pigs. You'll see some pictures. You get a conch salad lunch, and then you head back. This one is a splurge. Like I said, it's a little far away, so the only way to really get there for you is for a powerboat. So you're going to have to speed out there. And again, if you're into nature, aquatic wildlife, and just really get a little bit remote and, get away from the crowd and have a full day. Now, there's tons of stuff to do here. It's not necessarily sit around and do nothing. But most of the stuff, like I said, is more to do with, enjoying the nature, the animals, the fish, and, the stingrays, the sharks, and everything like that. And you could take a powerboat adventure out there for $214 a person. So like I said, you get the Conch Salad lunch, you get a lot of stuff with this one. You're really seeing a part of the world that a lot of your fellow cruisers will not get to see. So that's why, in many opinions, it is worth it. Moving on, you have Balmoral Island. This is a simple boat ride to a beach day. It's not that far from port. You might find that this is the busiest one, mainly because of its proximity to, like I said, the cruise ships. You can either just relax or opt to snorkel or experience. They do have a dolphin encounter on this particular island. There's plenty of food and drinks available. Some say they bang you out a little bit, but others will say it's worth it. It makes sense that they might bang you out a little bit because of, like I said, your proximity to the cruise terminal and, the crowds. They actually have a Starbucks on the beach. There's plenty of umbrellas, plenty of lounge chairs. There's often a DJ. They'll throw a DJ out there a lot of times to get the party going a little bit. A lot of times those DJs, if they look like they'll play it by ear. There's a crowd that's ready to rage out. They'll get it going, and you'll see some wacky stuff. But if the crowd is looking to kind of be a little bit more subdued and just kind of chill, they'll just play the tropical steel drum tracks and give you what you want in that regard too. Like I said, this is a beach day, and they're pretty much just ferrying you to the island. It's well worth it for the $40, in my opinion. If you're looking to do an island beach day but still remain close to the port, this is definitely the day trip for you. All right, moving on. The final island, the beach day that we're talking about, is Pearl Island. This is another small remote island that is nice for a beach day where you can snorkel with guides, you can paddle boat, you can hang out. Plenty of chairs available. You got the sun or the shade. Definitely a great option if you're looking to get away from the crowd. So this is relaxing, it's slow, but it's also remote. So you got your remote, extra far away ones, which are Pearl Island, that's the one where you want to go if you want to get away from everybody, but you don't necessarily care about doing a bunch of crap. Pearl Island is for you. Ballamore Island is, you get a lot of that. You get some action. You could do some stuff there. It's fun. But it's going to be crowded, and it's going to be close to the port terminal for your convenience, whether you like that, whether you don't. Exuma, you're really kind of getting the most exotic experience. You got to shoot out there. It's most expensive, but you are really on a remote island. You're far away from the crowds, and you just got all the natural wonders, whether it's, like I said, the wildlife in the sea, as well as pigs, whether it's, plants, everything. Exuma Island is out of control. And then probably the mainstream one, which is probably a little bit of everything. You do get away from the cruise port, but you do have a bunch of stuff to do. It's got the water sports, maybe not necessarily the natural wonders of Exuma, and maybe not the remoteness of Exuma, but you are getting away. And at Blue Lagoon you have plenty of stuff to do. So there you go. Pearl Island, Balmoral Island, Exuma Island, and Blue Lagoon Island. Those, to me, are your three best options as far as, if you want to get on a ferry and get off Nassau, get off Paradise Island, and get to a remote location. All great options. I mean, that's another one. I don't think I'm doing that next. I don't think I'm doing that yet, but I want to do that too. Maybe the time after, I'm just going to do a whole island day, and my choice would definitely be either Blue Lagoon, probably number one. 1A would be Exuma. That's just me. All right, you also have Parliament Square. Now, for you people who want to just kind of get a feel for the government, get a feel for the city, you have the Government House and other prominent buildings out there. That's always fascinating to me. I always like to see how governments work and the history of areas and what they've been through and whose control they've been under. Oftentimes, it's not something we have a plan to do or think of doing, but once we do, we find out some fascinating information about the people's way of life and the history, the governments, the municipalities of the places that we visit. I suggest taking a narrated tour so you can actually know what you're looking at. I used to say that all the time in New York City. When I would walk around New York City, and that's my home, guys, but still, when you step away and you see that just concrete jungle kind of skyline, and all those buildings have all those floors. All those floors have all those offices. All those, offices have all those windows. Like, all the crap that's going on in there. The entire world is being run. And you walk by these buildings, okay, that's another building. I saw it every day. You have no idea what's going on in there. Could be just corporate BS. It could be, you walk by a building in New York City, and it'll be, the Israeli embassy. It'll be, the Kenyan embassy, and there's crazy things that are going on in a lot of these buildings. And if you actually got in there and somebody told you what it was all about, even though you walk by it every day, you don't realize, and you'll be fascinated. You'll be like, wow, I had no idea all that was going on inside those walls. Definitely something I'm fascinated with. It's weird enough, like, again, living and working in New York City every day. When it's nice, the first nice day of the year, I'm not embarrassed to say, I'll tell somebody, my friend, me and Stu actually did it a few times, a couple of my buddies. I jump on one of those red buses. You know what I mean? You get a red bus tour. It's a bunch of tourists. I always used to say, what are these people doing? They get on these giant buses, and they're just paying to sit in traffic. But no, as I get older, I'm fascinated by what the hell's going on throughout the city. And, you learn about, the Lower East Side and the bathhouses, and, how this building had no power up until this day. And, how, this was a sanctuary for, people who just came, and, they were Holocaust survivors, and this was a sanctuary and a support building for them, and this and that. You find out a lot of cool stuff when you do tours of the urban areas of certain parts of the world, and I would definitely do that in Nassau, and Parliament Square is no different for me. I definitely, that's going to be on the list too. That's probably going to be the next thing I do. I'm going to, like I said, combo that in with my museum walk, with my fish fry, and just the general, the walk around the town, where you have the cigar shop, where you have the pirate museum and all that stuff. The museum, art gallery, Parliament Square, and then probably wrap it up. Or no, you know what? Maybe I should get the Exuma fish fry out of the way first, because that's the furthest thing from where you are. No, because that's where the appetite's going to come from. So yeah, so I'm going to do the downtown walk, all the stuff in the attractions downtown, actually taking the time to research and knowing what I'm looking at. And then I'm going to shoot out to Exuma for the fish fry. And then if there's time, maybe hit a beach on the way back. If not, back on the ship. All right. There is another facet of options that you can do while you're in Nassau. And this one is cool too. This one costs a little bit of money, but to me, it's absolutely worth it, and I would not hesitate to do it. And these are your various options for your resorts for a day. And to me, it's broken down into 4 of the best choices, and this is besides Atlantis. So first and foremost, not foremost, but first, we'll talk about Breezes. Breezes, you can get a day pass for $77. That includes food and drinks. It's a slightly less high-end looking experience, more of an older feel to it. I don't know why I say that, just by looking at the pictures. It doesn't necessarily seem as like pristine or like high end. Doesn't look shitty, doesn't look like bad, doesn't look like something I wouldn't want to do, but it kind of has a little bit more of a family looking feel to it than per se like a really high end hotel or resort. It does look fun, does look clean. Guests must be 14 and over, and it's the same price across the board for everyone. It's about 20 minutes away, so you may get lucky if you're looking to avoid the masses. At Breezes, you get your day pass, like I said, for $77. Another one, nice one, Malia Day Pass. Malia Day Passes are for $60, and kids up to 11 pay $40. It's a pretty basic package here. You're getting use of only the pool and the beach. You get a lounge chair and a towel. You also do get use of snorkel gear, but everything else, unfortunately, is an extra charge. So you're paying $60, but the grounds are really, really nice. It's also about a 20-minute ride from the port, right on Cable Beach. Staff gets excellent reviews for service, friendliness, But again, like I said, you're paying your $60 just to be able to go to this, I guess, exquisite and pristine place. All your food and your drinks are going to be on you. Let's talk about the British Colonial Hilton. You can get that one for $79, and it includes, everybody's got a freaking angle here. So for $79, you can get $40 in credit towards food or drinks. It's right downtown. It's close to the pier. It's got a private beach. It's got a pool. It's a world-renowned brand name. You're talking about the Hilton here, so you know it's going to be nice. You know it's going to be maintained well. Price for kids is $40, and children under 5 are usually free. But again, beautiful pool, beautiful grounds, beautiful facility. You'll have use of the pool. $79 will get you $40 in food. That is the British Colonial Hilton. Moving on, last but not least, is the Warwick Paradise Island, and this one is a nice one. It's $97, but that gets you everything. It's a true all-inclusive experience. Again, you're paying $100, but it's located near Atlantis. It's on Paradise Island. This is an adults-only experience. You have to be 18 and up, so it's not necessarily family-friendly. Weirdly enough, it's 21 and up in March, April, and June. That's one of the most random things I've ever heard from a resort or anybody. It's 21 and up in March. Why is it only 21 and up for those months, that part of the year? And why do they skip May? So May is 18 and up, but March, April, and June are 21 and up, and everything else not March, April, and June is 18 and up as well. I just didn't make any sense right there, but you guys know what I'm saying. It's brand new, actually. It looks amazing. There's a giant pool. It's got beach access. You could snorkel. Plenty of food available. This place is, like I said, it's brand new. It looks amazing. And it's about a 10-minute cab ride from the cruise terminal. All right. So that's pretty much it. I know we didn't get to everything. That's everything regarding the tours that you're available to. Not tours, but just kind of like general things that you're available to do. Now, tours is a different concept and a different topic altogether, because there is everything you could possibly want to do on Nassau. You got private charters, you got public, tours, you have You have snorkeling, scuba, you have parasailing. You can do all your water sports here, jet skis, whatever. You have nature tours, you got urban tours, you have beach days, you have island days, you have adventure days. You could do wine tours, you could do food tours, you could do cigar tours. You have beautiful museums, you have art galleries, you have fishing, you have the 4x4. I know I'm going on and on and on, but the point is that if I was going to kind of try to list all the tours and all the things that you can do, that would be tough. So what I am going to do is to invite you to go to this website that I have absolutely zero affiliation with, but it is by far the most comprehensive and best website, most user-friendly website, really, really attractive website that I came across. It's called NassauParadiseIsland.com. Very simple. I repeat, www.NassauParadiseIsland.com. You'll immediately see what I'm talking about when you hop on this website, how cool the look and feel of it is, and how user-friendly it is. And really, I say that and send you there only to tell you that that is the place you want to go if you have an idea in your mind of what you might want to do, or if you don't and you just want to, brainstorm ideas. Go to www.NassauParadiseIsland.com, and all of the things I mentioned and so many, many more are all available here. And if maybe you don't even book through them, I don't get, like I said, no affiliation. Just use it for research and then book directly with a company or something, whatever you want to do. But like I said, you have to do your own research. Before we hop, I want to get into some specific eateries and drinkeries, for lack of better terms, that there may be on the island, just to mention a few. Again, same story here, guys. I could not possibly mention them all, but here are some of the more popular ones. Senor Frogs is downtown. This is one of the best Senor Frogs that are out there. It's consistent with the food. It's got really good conch salad, but as you know, in typical Senor Frogs fashion, it's absolutely out of control. It's nuts. We were there, we had a good time, and we just saw just a bunch. It was like during spring break, and I think it was 2015, and there was just pure carnage. People getting absolutely ossified. Apparently, along with the health department regulations that are ignored here, the over-serving and responsible vendor alcohol stuff is not necessarily a big focus here. They will serve you until you can't pay for drinks anymore, and that's not necessarily a good thing. Eventually, that will kind of change. People will evolve. Regulations will set in. Maybe not now, maybe not tomorrow, maybe not 10 years from now, but it eventually will happen. But Senor Frogs, like I said, not known necessarily for fine dining or cuisine, but this is, like I said, is one of the better Senor Frogs, and the food here is actually very good. The Bearded Clam, also downtown, walking distance to the cruise terminal. Very casual atmosphere. It's got American/seafood. It's kind of like a divey type of place. It's got walls. They're known for kind of like you're able to write on the walls, tons of graffiti, and it's a sports bar, so you'll be able to check out your favorite sports game, match, contest, whatever you want to call it. You got mentioned it before. You got the Tiki Bikini Hut, and that's on Junkanoo Beach, and fun place. It's a bar right off the beach. You got a grill, you got some good jerk chicken. The bartenders are lightning fast. They have to be with all the action that they're going to get there. Good drinks, good fun. They say, I see a lot of the reviews mention a gentleman by the name of bartender Byron. So go check out Byron. I'm sure he's really sick of hearing his name being called randomly, but you know what? He probably isn't. He probably loves it. A guy like that, they're actually mentioning him over and over in TripAdvisor and stuff like that. He probably has a passion for it and probably lives for it. And one of the rare people who get it in the business that realize that, you know what? We got to keep them coming back. All right, the Daiquiri Shack. This is on Cable Beach. It's almost like the Cable Beach answer to the Tiki Bikini Hut on Junkanoo Beach. However, this place, you gotta see. There's fruit hanging all over the joint. It's everywhere, and it's all fresh fruit. Every drink is made to order with fresh fruit. So you may have to wait a little while for your drink, but it is going to... Can you imagine every single piece of... Every drink you made, there's blenders everywhere, and they will blend up your fruit and put it in your drink. That is a selling point right there. Doesn't have food, small place, but... Daiquiri Shack on Cable Beach definitely looks like definitely a place not to miss. All right, Shark Tea's Tiki Bar. This is also downtown. It's on the second floor of a building that is over a gift shop. It's got a great atmosphere. I heard the food is average, nothing crazy. You got burgers, beer, stuff like that. More of an atmosphere place, more of a proximity to the cruise port place, but a cool place to hang out if you're walking around. We talked about the Arawak fish fry. Definitely don't miss that one. Paradise Island. It's got conch any way you could possibly want it. It's got a ton of vendors in a row. It's got the jerk chicken. Beautiful, kind of cool look of multiple colored buildings. And I'm definitely there next time I hit up Nassau. If you want to switch it up and you actually want to have a sit-down, nice, I'm not going to say fine dining, but definitely a little bit more of a higher-end eating experience, check out Cafe Matisse. It's also downtown. You're stepping it up a little bit. Great Italian food and great brick oven pizza, and a lot of shout outs to a very friendly and hands-on manager named Greg. So go to Cafe Matisse and ask for Greg. Moving on, you got the Great Cliff Restaurant. Now, this is in a hotel, and this is a serious experience, guys. This is a fine dining experience. You're talking about Nassau's first 5-star hotel. It's got an island food, but it's very sophisticated. You're eating your meal in an atmosphere that can't be matched. You feel like you're eating in someone's home, to be honest with you, but just a really pristine and well-kept, gorgeous home. They actually, even in the spirit of Nassau being New Providence being a British island, they do afternoon tea there as well. What else do we got? The poop deck. It's waterfront. It's an in-between type place. It's got great seafood. It's got the conch salad. It's got great view. It's reasonably priced for the menu offered. This would probably be the place I would go to. You know what I mean? Not pretentious at all, but it's also not a complete dive in a dirt hole. It actually gives you, some good food, good drinks, reasonably priced for the menu offered. And the menu is, like I said, fairly sophisticated for what you would think in that area, in the area that you're in, and for the price that you get it for. And that's pretty. I'm really into that conch salad thing, guys. If you haven't got that before, I want to try it again, despite the sanitary drawbacks of it. I absolutely want to try the conch salad. I've had the fritters. I haven't done a bunch of other ways, but I definitely want to try that. Looks like a variation of a ceviche. That's pretty much it, guys. I really appreciate it. Let me know what you think of Nassau. Let me know if you think I screwed anything up, as you sometimes tend to do as well. I have no problem with that. I really appreciate it, and thanks for listening, and we will talk to you next time. Again, don't forget, guys, look out for the YouTube video on this. This is going to be at Always Be Booked on YouTube, and it will be listed under something to the effect of Nassau Port Profile Nassau. You will hear everything you're hearing right now, but you will see pictures like a slideshow format accompanied with the narration. Once again, please check us out. iTunes, Always Be Booked. Subscribe, download, share. Always Be Booked on Instagram. Always Be Booked on Facebook, YouTube, and most importantly for this week, guys, call to action. I'm soliciting these pretty hard. Please send me some emails. I want some comments, suggestions, questions, whatever you got. Email Tommy@alwaysbebooked.com. Thank you guys so much for listening. We will talk to you next time.